I'm an anxious person, and that's the hard part for me is selling myself. I don't think anyone loves to sell themselves.
Nobody enjoys selling themselves. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Hi, I'm Kristen. I can fill your trailer park, and I can do it in a way that's not scummy, right? That
Right.
to me, I really like. Do you like that? I think that
Yeah,
sounds
I
pretty
do.
good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I'm Kristen. I'm a freelance marketer, and this is Chasing Dragons.
Kristen, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing swell. I appreciate you coming on, and I don't know. I think the internet kind of looks at me like I'm a crazy person instead of someone who knows what he's talking about. So I appreciate you like taking the risk and being like, okay, maybe I'll sit down and talk to the crazy person.
I don't think you're crazy. I think you're
Thank.
going somewhere. So that's why
I
I wanted to chat
appreciate
with
that.
you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, the premise of this show is like, helping entrepreneurs chase the dragons that they're chasing, right? Because I've been an entrepreneur my whole life and I've like reinvented myself a dozen times. So like, it's like you've told me a little bit about your business. You did an AI onboarding exercise that I sent you, and I've queued you up an intro here. You ready for the intro? Here we go.
Yeah, I'm so ready.
Sick. Today on Chasing Dragons, we're talking with Kristen. Kristen is a marketing contractor with 6 years of experience handling strategy, execution, design, logistics, and content across real estate, solar, and health businesses. She's been running her own freelance operation for the past year and a half, helping small businesses with their marketing. Now, her last client is leaving within the next 3 months, and she's scared. She's debating whether she should go get a job or keep trying to build her business. She struggles with putting herself out there. She doesn't have a clear system for getting clients, and she's stuck in overwork and burnout cycles as she tries to figure out what to do next. What do you think? Is that accurate?
So accurate. Very
Got
good.
it. Today, we're going to challenge Kristen to decide, is she going to build her business or go search for a job? We're going to help her find a clear offer, a target market, and client acquisition system. We're going to shift her from scattered busy work into focused, high leverage action. We're going to show her how to use her creative drive to build and not distract. And we're going to remind her that her worth isn't tied to her business, but her business can give her the freedom she wants. You excited for that?
I'm excited. That's awesome.
I hope that it goes that way. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll talk
We'll
about...
find out.
Cool. So Kristen, tell me first a little bit about your business.
2 years ago, I worked for a company. I thought it was a great position. I kind of came in as a marketing person. The company ended up being really, really toxic, not a great environment. Turns out the company wasn't doing too good. I got laid off with all of the employees. They ended up closing their doors, and in my mind, that was like the worst thing that could happen to me. I'm a very responsible person, so my whole life I was like, I have to have a job. I have to, that's where my worth is. And so that just like knocked me down so much.
Sure. No, yeah, absolutely. Losing a job, having the place shut its doors, like especially to someone who's kind of colored in the lines their whole life, like that's got to be devastating.
Yes.
So what'd you do?
So essentially, I just started like the job market during that time was just a mess. I was on unemployment. I was trying to find a position doing marketing. I mean, I had been doing it for at least, I think at that time it was 3 or 4 years, and I felt like I wasn't finding anything. So I literally started doing admin work for this really nice guy who's doing his own solar work. And so I just started doing admin work for him, and he was really great. He was his own entrepreneur. I mean, he's 90 years old
Wow.
and still working. He like refuses to retire. Really cool guy. Shout out Carl.
We love Carl. Carl, the
He's
90-year-old
so
solar
sick.
guy. Carl's
He's
how dope
so
is that?
awesome. I mean, he was like converting gas cars into electric cars like before it was even a thing. It was cool.
That's cool.
So he's a cool guy. But I was doing admin work for him, and then I had a person that I worked with previously in manufactured housing, property management. I had worked with her previously and asked if I would come on as kind of contractor. And I was open to this. During this time, I was also interviewing with another company. It was a health and wellness company, and they had basically offered me a position as like a marketing coordinator. And it wasn't the marketing manager position I wanted, but I was really willing to work with them. I mean, I was desperate. I was so scared. And they ended up revoking the offer and saying, sorry, like we're on a hiring pause so we can give you hours as a contractor. So I had kind of just miraculously started picking up these clients that was so natural, and it just happened, and it I felt very lucky to do that. And so I just kind of ran with it. I ended up taking Carl on as a client, so I kind of went just hourly with him.
So, which one is the one that remains? Do you mind if I ask?
It's not Carl, it's not the health and wellness company, it's the property management company that remains. My friend that worked there ended up quitting, so I ended up taking on a lot of operational business operations that I ended up kind of filling that role for them. So I ended up becoming kind of a full-time contractor for them. So
Got it. I got questions.
tons of hours. Yeah.
So,
Tell me.
how many hours a week do you work for them, and what is your hourly rate?
I work 35 hours for them a week, and I charge them $45 an hour.
Cool. That's a solid, healthy rate. That's wonderful. Cool. Okay, so 35 hours a week for this client, but that job is drying up. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So they have a portfolio of about 8 different manufactured home communities. Their investors have decided to sell the entire portfolio in September.
Got it. Okay, here's my first here we're putting you on the spot, okay?
Yeah.
I think that this conversation is a lot more valuable if we make a clear, distinct decision at the beginning of this conversation. Is your goal to build your own self-sustaining freelance or marketing business by yourself, or is your goal to find the next job? What are you trying to do? And you can't do them both. That's my opinion. You can't do them both. If you had to pick, gun to your head, what are you doing? What do you want this conversation to be about? Because I can help you. I can help you do multiple things. I can help you go and get the highest paying job possible, right? The highest paying marketing position possible.
Right.
Or we could try to focus on getting you a job that is comfortable, right? It might not be the highest paying possible, but it's something that you might like doing, right? Or we can try to help you build a sustainable entrepreneurship venture, right? This show is about entrepreneurship, but
Yeah.
I don't know, we haven't done an episode about going to find jobs. So I don't know. When you hear that question with those 3 options, what do you think?
I'm going to make a decision on this episode. I think we should explore the entrepreneurship role.
Cool.
That is something I think I've started gearing up for. So yeah, let's roll with it.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, and that's what this conversation is about, right? That I've planned here is and that's probably what I have the most experience doing. I ran a marketing agency for about 2 years and had a handful of clients, but struggled a lot, and it ultimately, crumbled in front of me. But during that process, I learned a ton of stuff, right? And so I really do believe that my perspective could help you figure some of these things out.
Cool.
So cool. Okay. So if that's the route that we're going to go, right, then we have some other questions here. The questions are about runway. How many months of runway do you think you have? And when is the last date of your job where you're working 35 hours a week?
We're supposed to close on selling all the properties, I'm assuming at the end of September.
Cool.
They have promised me a couple months of pay as just a thank you for working with them till the end. So there's that.
With your job ending in September, but then also kind of giving you some severance, right? It sounds like you can kind of make it to
Yes.
January reasonably with the income from that job.
Right.
I guess maybe I guess we don't have to talk hard numbers, but are you in a decent cash position? So if you needed to extend past January with no money coming in, is that something that you could possibly do? Or are you kind of struggling and in debt and screwed?
No, I'm in an okay position. I own a house.
Wonderful.
So I've been building up an emergency savings account. So I think I could last very well into January.
Cool. Wonderful. Okay. So let's say that you've got 6 months of runway, right? Between this job that you are kind of winding down and your savings, you also own a home, which is fantastic. So that if shit hits the fan, you're good for 6 months.
Right.
Wonderful. Cool. So now that we know that you're going to build a business, not go get a job, and now we know that you've got 6 months of operational time here. If you've made it this far into the conversation, go ahead and hit the like button because it really helps boost us in the YouTube algorithm. If you think Kristen can do this, go ahead and drop some support in the comments. And lastly, I'm trying to hit 2,500 subs by the end of the summer. So if you subscribe to the channel, that way you won't miss Kristen's follow-up episode when we shoot it in 3 to 6 months from now. So I took a course in college taught by Professor Hull. Thank you, Professor Clyde Hull, for teaching me this. But he talked about this strategy sword diagram. Basically, the one takeaway is you need to have one solid clear goal, right? That's the first thing. So in your initial report, you kind of told me I'm making this decision. I'm afraid, right? Which, by the way, completely reasonable to be afraid.
Yeah.
But you're should I go get a job or should I build this business? And I don't know what to do, right? The first thing is making a clear decision, right? It sounds like you want to build an entrepreneurship venture. which
Right.
I think is great. Cool. So that's the first distinction that we've made. The point of the strategy sword diagram is like, okay, pick one thing. Like, that's most of strategy. That's more than a lot of people do, right? You have a plan now. You have a goal. In 6 months, I would like to offset my living expenses by building a business and having a self-sustaining business. Wonderful. That's great.
Wow.
Now, what do we do? Now we talk details, okay? From your outline, you said that here's all the things that you told me that you do. You do social media management, you do email campaigns, you do website builds with Squarespace and WordPress, you do ad creative and management, you do promo and product campaigns, you do swag design, event marketing, and operational logistics. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different functions, which is a ton, right?
Yeah.
And so I think like the first thing that I want to get into with this is which one do you do the most frequently for these positions, and which ones do you think you're the best at?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've always felt like I was a jack of all trades. And in one interview I had a couple years ago, they were like, but master of none, right? And I was like, yeah,
You're like, nah,
okay.
fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, well, can I not be a jack of all trades? Because I have felt like in every position I've been in, they've just been like, oh, well, my first position, I was a marketing manager and I put together a team. Like I had never done that. I was just fresh out of college. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just run with it. So I guess out of everything, it's been like marketing operations or strategy, like just getting things done. And in most of these roles with different clients, I felt like they've had a need and they were like, oh, well, just give it to Kristen. Like, well, she'll figure it out.
Sure.
And
Which by the way is very common. Like,
yeah.
like my
Hmm.
marketing career has been like, I was doing like programmatic, and then I was doing like fucking Facebook ads, and then I was doing like,
Yes.
build the funnel and then build a chatbot, and
Yes.
then like, you're all over, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I guess right now, which one have you made the most money doing? I guess is my question, right? Like you had an employer who has paid you for one thing, right? Where's your like nut come from of like, this is what has paid my rent the most? Like if you had to pick one thing.
Mm, probably lead generation and sales,
Got it.
like sales coaching for the teams. Does that
Got
make
it.
sense?
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I've done like paid ads specifically for the property management company. We marketed on Facebook, so social media, Zumper, Zillow, just kind of basic paid ads, generating those leads and then making sure we're following up, like coaching the teams to make sure that they're following up with the clients, showing the homes. So just pushing the teams and like constant follow up and making sure that those leads actually go through the sales funnel. Does
Got
that
it.
make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Cool. That doesn't surprise me either because that is a direct like value generation vehicle like for that business, right? Like and that to me, if I was a business owner like considering hiring you, that makes a lot of sense, right? What you're
Right.
describing is that you have expertise and experience in generating leads for real estate. What specific types of real estate? So like is it like houses? Is it commercial real estate? What is it?
Yeah, it's manufactured homes, so trailer parks.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Cool. So
Very
so
different.
I'm gonna give you some homework. Do you like homework? Do you do homework?
Yeah, I love homework.
Yeah. Do
Let's
you
do it.
actually like homework? Because I have
Yeah,
ADHD,
I
and if
do.
okay,
No, I also have ADHD and I actually do enjoy homework. It
I have
takes
another
me some
question.
time,
Are you
but
do you
yes.
you have ADHD? Are you medicated for your ADHD?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. See, you know what? Here's the deal on that is that like people don't like this advice, but like we live in a fucking disgusting market economy system where like it's sink or swim, okay? And so
Yes.
like if you are medicated for your ADHD, that is an asset for your business if you're trying to build a company. So that's a good thing. I currently am not. Like I decided like I'm just gonna
Yeah.
raw dog life and fucking like
Yeah.
because like
Hell
those
yeah.
those medications make me like I don't like my personality when I'm on them, but if you are sustaining that and you enjoy it, that's wonderful because it can make you a lot more productive, right? Cool. So
Yeah.
you do lead gen specifically for trail parks. Are you the lead gen that you're doing? Is that like looking for individuals to live in the trailer parks, or essentially
Correct.
selling? Got it.
Yeah, it's either renting or selling the homes to individuals to live in the homes, and they basically pay rent on the home and on the land.
Got it. Do you like doing that? Is that something that you're skilled at?
I think that I have brought a lot of value to property management companies. There's like an industry of property managers specific to manufactured homes, which is very interesting, very niche. I have thought about like exploring like marketing to them in particular because I have been able to push the needle with a lot of manufactured home in but it's not like I have traveled to some of these like trailer parks and it's not luxurious per se. It's not like amazing. Am
Sure.
I pretty good at it? Yeah, sure. Like I can do it. I know I can pull it off well for the companies. I do feel like they send me in like a million different directions because a lot of them are just trying to learn how to grow. Does that make sense?
Makes
Like
a lot of
I'm
sense.
good
It
at
makes a
it,
lot of sense.
but
I think okay, and you know what? Here's another thing that people rarely talk about, but I
yeah.
think is a fascinating conversation, right? Is like, okay, cool. Like what you're doing probably has negative externalities, right? Like, you know, the people that enter these living situations are probably it's
Yeah,
probably like pretty low income housing, right?
it
That
is.
like, yeah, and so maybe what you're doing is bad for humanity, right? And maybe it conflicts with your values, right?
Yes.
And so if that's true, then maybe that's bad and maybe it means that you should pivot away and do something entirely
Mm-hmm.
different. That said, I don't know a ton about that industry. I know a little bit about that industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I mean, all industries could potentially be exploitative, but like,
Right.
but I don't know. You
Yes.
know,
I have something to say on this, I guess.
sure. Yeah.
I will say the companies I have worked with, like my current client, where I started my career, I mean, they were actually really great and I felt like very ethical.
Wonderful.
I am very aware of the specific ones that are pretty slimy and like will increase rent immediately and by hundreds of dollars, and it is very not great, you know? So yeah, there is a range, and sometimes it does not make me feel great. So,
Sure. Got
yeah.
it. Cool. I think we've learned a bunch of things. It seems like you know this industry really well, right? You
Hmm.
know the players in the game that are scummy, right? You know their tactics that are kind of scummy, right? And
Yeah.
so like I really like that for you. Like, you know, it seems like you know your shit when it comes if I had a trailer park and I needed
Mhm.
people to live in it because I'm an investor and I'm like a guy who bought a trailer park, but I don't really know what I'm doing, but somebody kind of told me that like, you know, hey, if you get a trailer park, you can, you know, it's a higher return than the stock market, right? Because I've met
Hmm.
a few people like that, right?
Right.
If I had a Kristen in my life who knew how to fill my trailer park with residents, right? And also knew how to advise me on how to not be a scumbag about it because I want to
Right.
sleep at night, right? That I think is a very appealing offer, right? That to me
Right.
is a business, right? Hi, I'm Kristen. I can fill your trailer park and I can do it in a way that's not scummy, right? That to
Right.
me I really like. Do you like that? I think that
Yeah,
sounds
I
pretty
do.
good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I do like that because there is a need. Like people do need low income housing. There is a need for that. It's just, yeah, the scummy part I don't love.
Sure. Yeah. So let's say, for the sake of this conversation, that that's the route that you're going to go, right?
Hmm.
Because so we were talking about homework, right? I think
Hmm.
that your homework is to read one book specifically. I have three book suggestions, but one book is very important, and that is Seven Figure Agency by Josh Nelson. That is the best book I have found on how to do the nuts and bolts of building the type of business that it seems like you are strategically positioned to build. That book is really good. Specifically, there's a chapter called The Rule of Five Ones, right? I don't remember exactly the five things that he says, but it essentially goes like this, right? You need one offer, okay? You need an offer in a single market. Okay. The market that you choose is the most important thing, right? Because even if you have a shitty offer, if the market is growing, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? Like if you're going to get it on a train, right? You want to pick a train to the right destination. So
Right.
I would go do some market research on, is this a growing market in the United States or is it shrinking, right?
Hmm.
And then I would do research around, cool, like for my company, right? I am this is the company that I'm working with. What kind of size company is this? And why did they hire me? Right? Why did they have, because that means that they're making a profit. How are they
Hmm.
making that profit? Right? How are they generating that revenue? And why did they choose to give it to me? These are all answerable questions, right? And the better you understand them, the more strategically positioned you are to sell to other people who could potentially offer you the same thing at
I
scale.
see.
So right now, a company is paying you $45 an hour, which isn't a low rate, right? They're paying you
Right.
a good rate to do a function in their business, and you can go and do that for other like trailer park management companies out there.
Right.
Cool. So the first part is one target market. And the fastest way to do this is to do what you already know. And you already know a lot about putting people in trailer parks and trying to do it in an ethical way that's not full of scummy, shitty tactics. Cool.
Right.
Then it's one offer, right? So like right now, what I would do as you are like winding down in this job, right? You right now have an opportunity. You can say, okay, somebody hired you, right? You could ask that person dozens of questions about like, why did you hire me? What did like, and you probably know this, right? But like, why
Yeah.
did you hire me? What problems am I solving in my current job? Why am I solving them? And why is this person paying them to be solved? And like, and what's the most important part of how I'm solving this, right? Because like what if my boss had a magic wand to solve the problems that my role is solving, right? What problems would they be solving? That's my question to you. What problem do you solve for your boss right now?
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of things. It's the nitty-gritty work that no one really wants to do.
So
Kind
what
of
is
like,
that? What is that?
I mean, Facebook ads, no one likes to generate leads. Title work, they didn't know how to do that. They asked me to figure it out, so I did it.
What is title work?
Title work for the homes. So the homes are titled similar to cars because they're mobile homes. So each state has different regulations on how they title the homes, depending on if the person is renting or if they're purchasing. And we, as the management company, have to keep track of that. And especially when we sell, we have to make sure the titles are transferred correctly.
Got it. So there's a database with a bunch of like pink slip type things that are like, this is the trailer park. This is all of the trailers
Yes,
in the trailer park, and we have title information about each one of them. And then
correct.
as you rent the units, like there's
Hmm.
probably some sort of like formality of like this person's currently living in this unit that's associated with this title, and there's a database
Right.
for that. Is that kind of what you're
Hmm.
doing?
Yes. And like typically it corresponds with like the taxes that need to be paid on that home and stuff like that. So
Got it. This is wonderful. This is wonderful, right? Because
good.
you have a
Yes.
lot of like high resolution information about problems in this industry, right?
Hmm.
The title problem, I bet. Okay, so here's the next thing that I would do in your position. I
Hmm.
would pick up the telephone. And that sucks. Here's the other thing is that
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is doing a bunch of shit that sucks, okay? So like, here's the other part is like, at the beginning of this call you're like, I think I'm going to build a business. Well, like you need to really decide for yourself like why in the fuck am I actually going to do all this shit, right? Cuz like this
Right.
sucks. I'm going to commit to doing a bunch of really shitty difficult work, okay?
Right.
And so, that's something to consider, right? You need good motivation. If you're going to say, I'm going to go run a marathon, why are you
Hmm.
running the marathon, right? Is it because, like, you need a good reason to run a marathon, right?
Right.
I've run a marathon before and it was to help my buddy, right? But if you're gonna build this business and you're gonna be serious about it, you got to figure out why you're building it, right? That's my other piece of advice. Cool,
Hmm.
but great. So next, what I would do is I would call up people who have similar roles as your boss, right? Another piece of homework for you. There's a book called The Mom Test. Okay,
The mom test.
the Mom Test is fantastic. The book The Mom Test is about idea validation. Here is what you shouldn't do, Kristen. Okay, I'm going to describe
Okay.
to you what you shouldn't do. I'm going to save you 5 years. Okay, here's 5 years in one sentence. Here's maybe not in one sentence. I'm a very long-winded motherfucker. Cool. The Mom Test is about this is what normally people do when they start a business. They go, I'm going to build a cupcake business, right? And then they go to their mom and they go, Mom, I have this idea to build a cupcake business. I'm going to sell
Hmm.
cupcakes and they're going to have cartoon characters on them. Mom, wouldn't you buy if you had a kid, Mom, who loved Toy Story and I made a bunch of cupcakes with Woody's head on the cupcake, and I sold them everywhere. Don't you think that you would buy those, Mom? What do you think your mom's going to tell you?
She'd say, for sure, because
Yeah.
she's your mom.
Yeah. And so she loves you, right? And so this is what entrepreneurs do when they first start is they say, I'm going to go do this I have a passion about this thing and so therefore I'm going to do this and they ask everybody in their life seeking external validation to validate their business concept. And then when every single person that they talk to says that's a fantastic idea and then they go do it and they spend 100 grand and they spend a year of their lives building a fucking cupcake business about Toy Story and like they hire three people
Yeah.
and everybody's fucking broke at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like they get really mad and then they go get another job, right?
Mm.
So that's usually how those things go. Does that make sense?
Right. Hmm.
So that's the mom test. Instead of that, instead of
Okay.
building the Toy Story cupcake company, here's
Right.
instead what you do. You get a ChatGPT subscription for $25 a month. The $25 a month tier will help you with this business. You feed the transcript of this call into that program, and then you make a ChatGPT project, and you upload a synthesis of this conversation with all of the key notes that we have come to from this conversation. I'll send you a transcript of this. You
Cool.
take all those key notes and you plug it into ChatGPT. It builds a synthesis of it, and then you put that into a project, and you say, in 6 months from now, help me build a business that generates revenue doing this. Then you ask it to make a list of assumptions that your business relies on. When you're building a business, it's about validating your assumptions as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible. Okay.
Mhm.
So like right now we could probably come up with a list of assumptions about like, what are you assuming? I'm assuming one, that there's a critical mass of trailer park management companies in the United States. Do you agree with that? That we're
Yeah.
assuming
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Because if you, in order for your business to exist, like that needs to be true, right?
Right.
So we're going to list out all of our assumptions systematically, right? You're
Okay.
assuming that there are trailer parks in the United States, and that hopefully you're also making an assumption that that market is growing, right? You're also making an assumption about the size of the company, right? Because like if these companies are huge, here's a problem. Okay, so I didn't do this when I was building my marketing agency. Okay, here's my marketing
Okay.
agency. I had a growing market. The senior living business is exploding because baby boomers are getting old as fuck, and we got to
Mhm.
stick them somewhere because they're not going to live with me because they're fucking annoying. So,
True.
so so we're gonna stuff them into a home, right? And so
Mhm.
okay, so which is not great. I'm
Yeah.
joking,
Yes.
but like so it's a huge growing market. Okay,
Mhm.
the assumption that I had was that this market was most likely comprised of mom and pop organizations that like were running these senior living communities, right? Hey, there's
Mhm.
one senior living community run by this guy, there's another senior living community run by this guy. Now, that's not actually reflective of the market. What I
Mhm.
learned over the course of a year is that there's like it's a fucking huge conglomerate, right? There's like five senior living companies that like run the whole fucking thing, okay? And that means that what I was doing was never going to work, right? Because what I was doing was
Yeah.
I was praying that I could find some mom and pop shop companies that are like, oh, I need marketing services. I need you to optimize my Google My Business page so that I can get more, because that when I was doing that, that was like the big lead gen thing, right?
Right.
So because I didn't validate that assumption, my business failed. I
Mhm.
know I've been talking for a while. Does all of that make sense?
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Cool. If you were to think about some of your assumptions, if you were to do this business that we're describing, what are some assumptions that you think are there?
Yeah, I guess my assumption is that there is a need for marketing within these property management companies, which could be that they don't care about marketing. They just run the communities. They just
Yeah.
don't care. It naturally runs, which could be true. Some of these communities just fill themselves
Yeah.
and they don't need marketing.
That's a really good assumption. Like, like that's a really good, like, cause if that's not true and you spend 100 grand and a year of your life building a company
Right.
where there's no need, you're fucked, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly.
So cool. Here's the other beautiful magic special sauce of this. And this is only going to be true for the next year until our economy completely shifts. Right now, a lot of this research stuff can be done with ChatGPT. If you use the ChatGPT $25 a month option, if you use the deep research function, first
Mhm.
make your list of assumptions with the program, right? Make a project, upload the file to the back end of the project. I can show you how to do all of this maybe over another call. Maybe we make a follow-up
Cool.
video because I think people don't know how to do this. You make a list of your assumptions, you
Mhm.
upload that to the back end of ChatGPT projects. Then you say, hey, we're going to go make a deep research report that validates as many of these assumptions as possible and identifies ones where I'm probably incorrect, right?
Mhm.
Because we're going to build a business based in reality. We're not going to build a business based in like, bullshit. Like it's going to be real. Cool. Then you go do that and you try to validate as many of those assumptions as possible. Another way to validate those assumptions is with something that Alexander Graham Bell invented many years ago that has buttons on it. Do you like
Well,
do you like those devices that with the buttons where you have to go ring
yes.
ring? Do you like
Except now
those
they
or
look
not?
like this and they don't
Yeah,
really have buttons.
that's true. I want a rotary one. I think it'd be fun to have a
Oh, that'd be
rotary.
awesome.
How are you on the phone, Kristen?
I think I'm pretty good. I'm a personable person. Like I'm a very people person, so I can chat.
Wonderful. Are you extroverted?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah,
you
I
done
am.
sales?
No, not like the sales that everyone, no.
What
I
kind
can
of sales
coach.
have you done?
Well, no, I haven't done any sales. I've done like lead generation and coaching people on how to follow up with those leads. That's like my extent of sales.
But hey, that right there is a lot better than most people. That's a lot
That's
better than
true.
most people. You know about lead
True.
gen and you probably know a lot of things about sales just as a result of coaching those people. So like, I don't
Hmm.
know, if I'm to sell a trailer park to a new potential resident, what are some tips for me that like, if I did these things, like I would have a better chance of putting that person in that trailer park. What are some things? Coach me on that right now.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people are really unfriendly. So first you need to be a little bit lively and nice. Some people are moving into a community where you're managing that community. The person that's usually selling the home is the property manager or on the team. So like on the office on site. So they need to be a little bit more friendly. They need to actually see the person in person at the home, meet them there, walk them through the home. A lot of people will assume that you just kind of give them the keys and say go down to the house down there and it's there. So you need to walk them through. You need to point out the highlights of the home. A lot of people think that manufactured homes are trash. Some of these are actually really nice, and operators will bring in really nice homes, so you need to highlight the features of the homes. Obviously, it's just like showing a home. Turn the lights on, have a little candle in there or some scents, open up the windows, like people are looking for a home that need a home. So that is what I would start with them. Usually it's a little bit more formal. And usually
Sure.
there's marketing materials that I provide them that outline from the manufacturer what the highlights of the homes are. Um, yeah,
I
that's
love that.
typically what I've done.
I love that.
Thank you.
Kristen, you know what you're doing, dude.
Thank
Like
you.
have you
Thanks.
considered that your sales training, that your coaching that you're doing for these salespeople, like you could apply that to yourself. Like you know how to
Yeah.
sell.
Yeah. Yes. It's just, I guess I'm an anxious person and that's the hard part for me is selling myself. I mean, I don't think anyone really succeeds and not succeeds, sorry. I don't think anyone loves to sell themselves,
Okay,
but
can I push back on some of this stuff?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
just
yeah.
maybe not push back, but just
Yes.
share my thoughts.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
These are, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I'm judging
Yes.
you. By the way,
Judge
here we
me.
go. FYI. I think that these are limiting beliefs. Like, you're saying nobody enjoys selling themselves. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. I'm fucking great at
Let's
selling
try.
myself. I think that I'm cool as fuck, Like I think that I think that I'd be a huge asset to just about any business in the world. Like I really
That's
do.
awesome.
You know,
Wow.
and and I think that so this assumption that nobody enjoys selling themselves, right, is fundamentally not true, right? Because you can go and find
Mhm.
people in the world that do enjoy
Love
that
it.
process.
Okay.
It's a process of personal branding, right? So I think
Hmm.
one thing that you should focus on is personal branding and focusing on learning that area, because like it sounds like to me it sounds like you have a market where your
Hmm.
skills that like the back of your hand, right?
Right.
You have like some problems in that market that you know how to solve.
Hmm.
If you were
Hmm.
to make a proprietary solution for doing title work, for the trailer parks or whatever, I don't know exactly. I'm sorry, and it's also not
Right.
trailer parks; it's manufactured homes, which are different. And
Yeah.
um,
It's the same.
I probably sound like a prick. If you live in a trailer, I'm
No,
sorry. I bet you're a fucking cool person. Come at
no,
me in
it's
the
cool.
comments. Write some shitty mean stuff. Everybody else does. Uh, cool. But like, it's like you have a target market. You have the ability to sell. You have all of this
Hmm.
knowledge. You have this personality that's perfect for it. But your last little step here is knowledge around personal branding. And then also, I think that one other thing that I think that you could work on is your self concept, right? It sounds to me like you do not identify as someone who has, this might be rude to say, but it sounds like to me, you're like, I don't have much to offer, right? Like Eeyore syndrome almost, where
Yeah,
like,
I would
yeah,
I would say I do feel like I do have a lot to offer.
what do
I
you have to
guess.
offer? Like a
Well,
superhero. Tell me what you've got to offer. Sell
well,
yourself. Here we go, Kristen.
I'm really personable. I'm pretty fun. I'm goofy. So like I guess what I don't identify with is like the corporate vibe. Like I hate that. And I don't feel like I'm very eloquent. So like I like to just be a goofy gal. I just like to have fun. Like I know what I'm doing. I can get shit done.
Yeah.
But like at the same time I don't want to be like stiff and structured.
Do you
So that's
let
where
me I love
yeah.
this. I love this
Hmm.
and thank you for being so
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, do you think that what do you think about this statement? In order for me to be successful selling myself, I have to fit this mold of professionalism. Do
Yeah.
you agree with that? You believe that
Yeah,
right
I
now?
do. Hmm.
Got it. I'm here to tell you that like congratulations, you could do whatever the fuck you want, right? Like you don't
That's
have to be
awesome.
like you know, I fucking hate LinkedIn. I hate the little fucking
Yeah.
like it to me,
Yes.
Kristen, listen, to
Yes.
me, I might be wrong here, but and by the way, this is just my perspective and my outlook
Right.
and the way I'm doing my life. Like, you know, if other people are like, there are many, many other people that are going to tell you, like, no, in order to succeed, you have to color inside of all the lines and like fucking do everything right and don't swear because if you swear, like, you're gonna, you know, like the Gestapo's gonna come and like, you know, shoot you in the head. So like, you know, you can't swear. But like, here's the deal: is like none of that matters if you're gonna become an entrepreneur, in my opinion, right? You know who it only matters to the people you are selling to, right? So your boss right now, I don't know anything about your boss, but is your
Mhm.
boss someone who you have to like pretend to be super professional around, or is that more of like a personable person?
I know he's pretty like
He's buttoned up.
yeah,
Got it. Okay.
100%.
Okay. Then you know what? Like maybe you need to figure out a way to still be yourself, but like figure out how to communicate with those people in a way that gets through to them, right?
Yeah.
And also, here's another thing is that like maybe that dude isn't reflective of the whole market, right? Because
Right.
the only people that you need to care about right now, if you're going to do this business, which by the way, I hope the hell you do because it sounds like you could fucking kill
Thanks.
this. Like, you know, it sounds like if you shift three things, you've got this, right?
Yeah.
So like in my opinion, you make a fucking big, like, you make a list, right? You write down
Okay.
your boss's name, right? And then you write
Right.
down every other person who's in a position is that you can possibly find. You write them all down, right?
Hmm.
And you say, okay, cool. Like, if I'm myself, are these people going to judge me, right? Like, and what does myself mean, right? What version of myself can I bring to these people that like is going to communicate to them that like I still know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I'm still a version of myself that is fun, right? And I think that there's a lot of like wiggle room
Hmm.
in there where like where you will be able to create a character for yourself that feels true to you but is still effectively communicating with those types of people. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And really, like I have once I've like weaseled my way into
No,
like
get in
working
there.
with
Yeah.
someone,
Weasel in, dude. Yeah,
like they get to
that's
know
business.
me and I'm pretty fun. And so like
Hell
I
yeah.
have had those experiences. I think it's just me limiting myself. And also LinkedIn scares the shit out of me and I hate it. But I'm working on that. Like this week, last week, and the week before, I've been making little posts. I've
Cool.
been marketing myself, creating a little brand for myself that's kind of
Tell me
fun.
about that.
Like
What's that?
yeah, so I've created my own core values. I've started
Yes.
making a website for myself. I've started creating posts that are not only like highlighting stuff from my portfolio or like what I've like achieved, but also like here's a picture of my dogs that are sleeping in my office with me and they're funny. One's name
Hell
is
yeah.
Demon. Like that's so dumb, but it's fun. So I'm trying to like
What are some of the values that like you've decided?
yes. Yeah, so my values are creative, fun. I'm totally gonna blank out on the other ones because you put me on the spot. Trust. Those are my top three. I love to be creative in anything, whether that's like creative problem solving. So that's why I chose that one. This is gonna get kind of random. I'm going off on a tangent, but I was in therapy a couple years ago and my therapist was like, have you ever thought of like coming up with your own personal core values? And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So every time I've kind of changed gears, I've really like gone back to these core values of just adjectives that I've selected, whether that's personal or with like my brand. Anyway, shout out to therapy. That's awesome. But creative, I really enjoy being creative and like solving problems, having a little bit of creative work. Like I have done a little bit of social media. I have done not a graphic designer whatsoever, but I have a creative eye and I really like flexing that muscle. I'm fun. Like I find that in a lot of these like stiff environments, it can be like, have you finished that project? What is the timeline? Like, what is our KPI on this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, can we, like, do you want to live like this in an office? We should be fun. So I do like to socialize with others and like try and bring that like connecting atmosphere. And then trust. Like I love to build relationships. Like I've seen a lot of really slimy people that have not built trust and like consistently lie and don't follow through. And I'm not one of those. I like to be someone that's trustworthy. So
I
those are my
love
top
that.
three. Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's
Thanks.
wonderful. Kristen, you've got so many of like
Thanks.
you've got the building blocks of something
Yeah.
like, you know? Like do you feel confident that like if you worked on this, if you busted your ass for 6 months, I think that you could figure this out and like have something really, really successful. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I really do. I think so. It's just like kicking my ass into gear that's been a struggle and like getting over the scaredness, but
What are you specifically afraid of? Like label the
yeah,
fear.
failure, obviously,
What is failure to you?
like gaining zero clients, not being like running through my emergency savings, running through everything, losing my house,
Yeah?
everything I've worked for in life and just it not working out.
Got it. You're afraid that if you start to go search for clients, you're not going to land any of them.
Right.
They are going to tell you no. You're going to spend all of your savings. As a
Mm-hmm.
result, you're going to potentially lose your home. And you've
Mm-hmm.
worked your entire life to build this home and this bank account. And if it all goes belly up, then like you're going to be back at square one. And you're going to be probably people are going to be like, that's Krista. She
Yeah.
failed. She
She failed.
sucks.
That
She fucked.
dummy.
She failed and she's dumb. Ha ha. And they're gonna
This
do
dumb
that.
girl.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think are the chances of that happening?
Oh, I mean, I've been reflecting on this within the past literally 48 hours. Like, I've thought about when I was laid off before and how I was desperate for 6 months. Like, I woke up, I was consistently applying to like hundreds of jobs. I was just like so desperate. And recently, I've been feeling like that's kind of weird that I don't feel that way right now. Like, I know that something is going to end. Like, I know that like my client is going to be gone. I know that like there is that risk, but I haven't been feeling that way. And I guess it's because I do feel like there's a chance of success and like I do feel like this could, work out for me.
Yeah. I personally think that like I don't know a ton about the market that you are
Hmm.
describing. If you do, the thing is that like when you actually have success in entrepreneurship, I think it's like not as glamorous as people like to envision, right? Like when everybody's
Right.
like, I'm going to start my own business, they like to think like, oh, I'm going to build a creative marketing agency where I'm like, building a new website for each new client each week, right?
Hmm.
And like, this week it's going to be about butterflies, and next week it's going to be about cupcakes, and the next week after that it's going to
Yeah.
be about hand ties and stuff. Like no, like what it probably will actually look like is are you, I guess it's like, are you willing and committed to this idea of potentially doing like a trailer park marketing business or a manufactured home marketing business?
Yeah. I mean, yes. I think as long as the clients are like ethical in ways and I align with them on that, I feel like I would be happy to represent brands like that. Yeah, I think so. I even have thought about my current like boss, my current client, and he has mentioned that like I could be really good at doing this and he's seen what, when he mentioned to me that they were selling all their communities, he was like, "But Kristen, you're going to do great. Like, you can do this for other companies." And so hearing him say that too like was kind of reassuring.
Yeah.
Um
Here's the other part of that is that how many people do you think do exactly what you do?
and not a ton. I don't think I've encountered many marketing people for property management companies.
Yeah. Well, okay. Actually, with that, I think that there are. Okay, there's a couple ways to learn information, right?
Yeah.
There's primary sources. You can do your own primary, like
Yeah.
Socratic method. Like
Right.
here's my hypothesis.
Experience.
Yeah, like there's first like level experience of like, here's my
Hmm.
hypothesis. I'm going to go like, here's my assumptions, and then I'm going to go validate them, right? That's one way you can do this. Another way you can go do learning though is from secondary sources, right? You can study
Hmm.
and learn from people who are in your
Right.
industry, right? And you can learn everything that you possibly can from them, right? So
Hmm.
like, I know that there is like property management marketing is a huge industry, right? And like,
Right.
if you find one other tip that I give is like Seven Figure Agency is a book about a guy who was like, okay, I'm going to get really sweaty and like build a marketing agency. That's a specialized book that is not a bestseller, right? Like now he
Right.
has disproportionate success, but like that was a very niche book. If you go and you look for the top 3 books that you can find that are as closely related as possible to what you are trying to do, that is a
Hmm.
huge way to learn a ton of stuff on how to make your business work, right? The reason why entrepreneurship sucks is because it requires the understanding of like, I don't know anything, right? Like, it's like assume that I
Yeah.
know nothing. And like the
Hmm.
first thing I need to do is like pay down my stupidity tax, right? My stupidity debt, right? And so how do I do that as quickly as possible? Well, first you go read the mom test and you make a list of your assumptions. You go validate which ones are going to hold you back or not. The next way
Hmm.
to do it is you learn from the people who came before you, right? Now, I will say sometimes when you do that, you can make mistakes because like their shit sometimes is outdated, right? Seven Figure Agency right now, it might not be the best resource, right? Because it's like this, like he came up during like the .com boom, right? So like
Hmm.
he was doing like SEO, right? Like,
Hmm.
and like
Right.
nowadays, like the hot new thing is like, for when I was doing my agency, it was Google My Business and like Google My Business optimization, right? That was an
Right.
underserved like part of the market, right?
Hmm.
Nowadays, I think a big part of it is like ChatGPT and LLM optimization, right? If you can
Hmm.
show up first when somebody goes to ChatGPT and they're like, "Hey, like I want to live in a trailer park, where should I go?" And
Hmm.
like your clients come up at the top of that thing, maybe that
Hmm.
is what you offer, right? So like, you need to take it with a grain of salt of like the secondary sources that you go and look, like maybe they don't have up to date information.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think you've got this. I think you've got this. I think another book that I would recommend for you is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Have you read that book?
No, I haven't.
That book's fantastic. So you're talking about how like you're struggling, it seems like, with motivation and like struggling with like making forward progress and that sort of thing. That book is about like chunking down tasks and trying to like it's like my favorite ADHD book ever, right? Because it's like
Awesome.
it's really good. And he talks a lot about like self concept. That's where a lot of the ideas of the self concept come from of like if you like the biggest thing that you can do that's going to change your daily habits is fucking around with your self concept of how you conceptualize of yourself. Because here's
Yeah.
the thing, Kristen, if you woke up tomorrow and you believed, I am Kristen, I can take a property management company and I can like make it so that they get the best fucking clients ever and I can stuff any building. If you really
Right.
truly believed that in your soul and you believed, oh, hey, by the way, every day that I don't work with these companies, there
Hmm.
are customers that don't get to live in their dream trailer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There are people who lack housing that like
Yes. Hmm.
if I was operating at my highest level, they would have housing.
Hmm.
B, there are property management companies that are currently doing this in a way that is outdated and shitty and bad.
Right.
And if they knew the things in my brain,
Hmm.
then they would be better off, right? If
Hmm.
you believe just those two things, and then you believed, "Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm the girl that like, or woman, sorry, not girl. I
I'm
am
a
the.
girl.
Hey, yeah, me too. No, I'm not.
It's fine.
If you believed I'm the person that is going
Right.
to give these people this information because the world is a worse off place with them not having this information, the world is worse off and I'm the person to give it to them. If you really woke up tomorrow and you believe those 3 things, like your actions that you take on a day-to-day basis would have this business already be built. Does that all make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense.
Cool. I think the last thing I want to talk about is like nuts and bolts. And you're a marketing person, so let's
Yes.
get nerdy. So like, let's say that let's build our dream. Let's say in 6 months this business is thriving. Okay, you've got how many? What would be your revenue target in 6 months? Let's say we go all in. You're working like part time on this, right? Let's say you're working a 60-hour week. Okay, which sucks, by the way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're taking your stimmy, and you're like, you're
Yeah.
all in. You're drinking some Red Bull on the side too, right? You're all in. You're
Yeah.
working a 60-hour week, but you build the shit out of this thing. In 6 months, what's your
Right.
revenue target? January.
January revenue target would be 150,000 annually.
Love it. Perfect. Okay. Which breaks down to, let's say that that's what? I'm sorry, 15 divided by 12 is
I'll
one
get a
and a
calculator.
half, right? It's 1.25. So that would be what? That'd be 12. That'd be $1,300 a month, let's say.
Yeah,
No, that's not correct. No, it's
12,
13 grand a month.
12,005.
Yeah, 13 grand a month is what we're trying to hit. Okay.
Perfect.
What is a single client going to be paying you?
If we have full 60 hours.
So here's the other thing is that you're doing one thing in your outline here is that you are selling your time for money. Okay,
Right.
here is a lesson about how to generate wealth. You need to. There's a book. Or I'm sorry. There's a guy. By the way, you're going to get a transcript of this, and I'm going to send you all of my
Cool.
thoughts and all of my resources
Okay.
and stuff. There's a guy named Naval Ravikant, right? He has this one podcast called "How to Become Rich," right? There's this idea from that podcast where he talks about how. Basically, the idea is like if you sell your time for money, like your inputs are extremely tied to your outputs, right? And therefore, you're not creating leverage, right? So in order for you to actually grow wealth is for you to create leverage, right? So the way you create leverage is with manpower, is with software, and is with like intellectual property, okay?
Okay.
And so essentially, like, instead of viewing it as like cost-based pricing of like, I'm working 60 hours a week, so how many hours a month? Like, if my
Yeah.
hourly rate is $60 an hour, then this is what I
Right.
would, don't do that. Don't do that. Instead
Right.
say, okay, if my revenue goal is 12 and a half grand a month, right? What is a reasonable price? Or honestly, don't even do this. What is the value that I am generating for my clients? And then what do I want each client to pay me per month, right? We can make it really simple. Let's say it's 4 grand a month. Let's say that that's your sticker price for the service that
Right.
you're selling, right?
Okay.
Then that means that let's just say it's 4 grand. Let's say it's 5 grand even. Let's just,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
crazy.
I think that's
5
great.
grand a month. Perfect.
Yeah.
You're charging each client 5 grand a month, right? That means your first client is probably going to offset your business expenses, right? Many of the programs that you're going to use will be covered by that. And by 2
Right.
clients, you can essentially cover your lifestyle and your business expenses, right?
Right.
That's amazing, right? So we're trying to get there. That is explained in the 7-Figure Agency, right? He talks about how when you're doing hourly work, you're never going to succeed because like you're essentially building sandcastles on an
Right.
unstable foundation, right?
I see.
So in order for you to make forward progress, right? Here's another metaphor. I don't know. I speak in metaphors. I know I'm weird, but I love to think about these things because I've spent my whole life trying to make shit like this work. So cool.
Yeah.
So like you're in the ocean, right? And right now you're swimming, right? And people who are
Yeah.
doing gig work, they're like, the faster I swim and the better I swim, like the more I'm able to survive, right? And what I'm telling you is, hey, like first you're going to make a life raft, okay? Like you're going to make an offer in a market. Okay. And that the benefits of that are like you get to like breathe a little bit, right? You don't have to constantly swim the whole time, right? Which is super nice because
Right.
then that frees you up to continue to design your raft. You ever play the game Raft? There's a game out there called Raft.
No, I've never
No?
played it.
It's pretty cool.
Sounds awesome.
Don't go play it because you're going to be working. So
Oh, right.
you can watch a guy named Shawnee Do play it on YouTube though. And that
Oh,
series is
great.
fantastic.
I love YouTube.
I'm also going to open that window because I'm so sweaty and there's no air conditioning in here because it's so
Open
hot.
up
I'll
the
be right
window.
back.
You need the air.
Okay. Cool. Go watch Shawnee Do play the game Raft.
Cool.
That's what you should do. No, go build a business. Cool. Okay, so you get your little raft together, right? You have your offer in your market, right? And you're selling clients for 5 grand a month or whatever price point makes sense. And you're going to know what
Right.
that price point is based on the people that you talk to and the assumptions that you're validating, as well as the secondary sources of like what the people who have written books and generated materials and podcasts about this shit, they're going to tell you, hey, this is what's a reasonable price for these people in this market, right? Because I don't actually know what that is. So you got to go
Right.
look that information up. Cool.
Okay.
Then you're building residual income. Every single time you sell a new thing, you are building residual income, right? The first client pays your business expenses. The second client pays your lifestyle. The third client affords your new hire, right?
Right.
And you can build this over time, right? This is how you create leverage. This is how these people build these companies, right? Cool. You go do that. You're building a boat, right? Eventually, you're trying to build a boat, and then eventually, you're like, okay, do I want a speedboat or do I want to build a fucking like pirate ship, you know, like, do I
Yeah.
want to build a lifestyle business or am I trying to take over the world and build the biggest company in the world, right? That's up to you. Right now, my goals are build a lifestyle business, right? Like have types of conversations that fill me with energy, right? That like perform well on social media and like pay my bills, right? Like
Right.
that's my current goals. Eventually,
Yes.
I will build my pirate ship and I will build a fleet of them and it's going to be dope as fuck. But
Hell yeah.
right now, we're crawling before we sprint. Cool. So, yeah, divorce the time for money thing
Okay.
and create leverage. Make sense?
Deal. Sounds great.
Beautiful. Great. So let's do that. Okay, so now what does our funnel look like in 6 months? We've got 3 clients, right? But
Correct.
in order to get 3 clients, what is our conversion rate? Our conversion rate's 20%, let's say, right? So we're doing a sales pipeline, right? Are we doing over the phone sales? How are we closing these 3 clients? That's my question.
I think we need to hit manufactured home property managing companies.
Love it. Where are they at? Where are they at online, do we think?
LinkedIn.
They're on LinkedIn.
Is where they're at.
And they're like, "Oh, this is what going to the Dodgers game taught me about business." That's what they're talking about, right?
They're saying, "Whoa, cool. I love that you're in business too, man. I'm in business." Yeah.
Yeah, dope. Okay.
Business.
And they're like, sniffing each other's farts over on LinkedIn. I
Yeah.
hate LinkedIn. But okay, cool. That's where we are. That's where we're at.
Yes.
Okay.
We have to go to LinkedIn.
Now, what's the first thing that they see from Kristen?
That she is active on LinkedIn. She's got a picture, she's got her branding, she's got her portfolio, she's got a website. She
love
has
it.
her services on there.
Love it.
Full
And
comprehensive portfolio.
now here's the other thing is that I don't think you have your services on there. I think that you have your business on there. I think you have your
Just
offer
business.
on there. I think the way you do it is, "Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm going to fill your goddamn fucking like residential property thing." Like that's
Yeah.
what it is, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the way
yeah.
I'm going to do it, is with KristenFillsYourHomes.com. Or like whatever
Yeah,
brand
yeah.
that you decide on, right? Like you build a thing. You're building a ship. That's the first part of the raft, right? Josh Nelson talks about how when you name your business, you should name it like the name of what you're doing, right? His first company was like it was like plumberseo.com or some shit like that. And
Okay.
guess what, Kristen, hearing the name plumberseo.com, what do you think that they do?
SEO for plumber companies.
Boom. And that's it, right? So
That's
so
awesome.
if you were to name your business, what is your business?
Marketing for property managing.
Dot com.
Trailer park marketing.
Trailerparkmarketing.com is like, I know that sounds so
Yeah.
common sense, but like, and tweak it until you like it,
Yeah.
but make it descriptive in my opinion so that it's impossible. There's another book that I like called Building a Story Brand. Have you ever heard of this? You're a marketer?
This sounds very familiar, but I don't. You tell me. Tell me more.
Wonderful. Building a story brand. See, by the way, I'm a huge nerd and I'm sorry if I'm like so annoying, but like I love these conversations.
This is great.
Wonderful.
I'm learning so much.
Building a Story Brand is a book about using storytelling in the selling and marketing process, right?
Yes.
And so they have this thing called the grunt test. Okay. So when somebody goes to your website, imagine that they're a caveman, right? And they need to like communicate what Kristen does like around the campfire, right? And so like, how do they do it? Like, they grunt it. They go like, Kristen sells and fills rental property companies. She puts people in homes. That's what Kristen does. Yeah. Cool. That's what your website needs to communicate. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So, so let's go back to our funnel, right? Our target market, property managers. We're on LinkedIn. What do we see from Kristen?
So not services, website. We have she fills homes. That is what she does.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And do they just appear on your page or what type of content are they seeing?
Oh, they're going to have to see occupancy that I've helped lead generation. I've pushed communities to fill their occupancy goals. I also should probably reach out to them. I need to be reaching out. You always get those messages on LinkedIn. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. What do you hate
I don't
about
want to
them?
be like that. I
do
want
you
to
hate about
connect
them?
with them. Well, I think it's really informal. I don't think it's a great marketing strategy
Why not?
because everyone gets their inbox full of shitty messages that they ignore.
So that right there is wonderful data, right? Because you have things that you despise about traditional LinkedIn selling, right?
Right.
That is your competitive advantage, right? Is like, okay, what do I hate about this, right? You can write about that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
hate that most people on LinkedIn say the same dumb bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's super over corporate polish, and like then they just
Yeah.
send these like LinkedIn message ads that like, are super like non-personal, and that sucks.
Right.
Because me as a customer, I hate that experience, right? So cool. You can be the exception to the rule. Like what how do you want
Right.
to do it differently? How do you want to do it differently?
Hmm. I guess that's where I'm struggling. That's where I need to like write it out. I need to map it out because um I mean, what do you do to connect on LinkedIn other than view their profile, follow them, and then message them? I mean, there's not much else aside from posting about yourself, making your profile super visible. I guess you could run ads.
Yeah. So I guess I think that this becomes I have this thing called the identity snowball. Okay. The identity snowball is this idea where it's like you discover who you are in the process of producing material, right?
Okay.
You're saying that you do posting and
Yeah.
publishing on your own. Do you
Uh-huh.
think that that's gotten easier or harder as you've done that?
Easier
Why?
because I've done it for multiple different companies. I've done it for, yeah, I've just done social media a lot. So coming up with like posts is pretty easy. We now have ChatGPT that comes up with really annoying captions, but you can modify them and it's helpful because then you don't have to like sit there and think about all the content yourself.
Yeah.
It can map out your own calendar. I've done like social media calendars before, so mapping out like a month of scheduled posts is not that hard. Does that make sense?
Let's make this fun. Let's make this fun.
Yeah.
What is like something fun that you like? What's something fun that you like? Hi, I'm Kristen. I like this, and I can fill your social or I can fill your
I
community.
like crafting. I love.
Tell me about that. Tell me about crafting.
I don't know if you have the time, friend.
I do. It's a
I
podcast.
painted
It's about bullshit.
this.
Hell yeah, that's sick.
I didn't make this, but I have done pottery. I've done pottery. I have ADHD, so like my hobbies constantly change. I have 20,000 of them. Like I love to paint. I love to pen pal. That's like a big thing. I have nieces, so I'm like pen paling them and like collaging shit and like interior design. I'm like, oh, change my house every 5 seconds. I paint murals on the wall because I'm crazy. Like, so that's, I do a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of crafts.
Hell yeah. Okay, look, this is my advice. Take it with a
Yeah.
grain of salt. Like if you don't like my advice, go take
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, yeah.
else's advice. But like my opinion is that you have these two problems, right? You're saying that you have these two types of problems, right? Like you view these things as different, or I guess your crafts and hobbies are not a problem to you, but like you view these things as disparate parts of your identity, right? Is
Right.
like selling on LinkedIn versus my personality, right? I
Yeah.
personally think that the way you do this is this way, right? Like, have you
Oh,
ever seen
okay.
Spider-Man 2
Yeah.
with Tobey Maguire?
Yeah, of course I have.
I love that movie so much. That movie is
Good
about
movie.
how Tobey Maguire fractures his identity into two people, right?
You're right.
In the first one, he's Spider-Man, right? Like he's the
Okay.
guy who swings the webs and he like saves the day,
Yes.
right? And then in his private life, he is he's Peter Parker, right? And
Yeah.
he has to live this like double identity because he believes that if everyone in my life knows that I'm Spider-Man, then like it exposes them to danger and they will die, right?
Yeah.
So like he tells nobody, okay?
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've seen that movie or when the last time it was
Yeah.
that you saw that movie, but it's
A
a
very long
horrible
time ago.
film. It's a horrible
Yeah.
film about a little nerd who like,
Yeah.
gets the shit beat out of him like for like
Yeah.
90 minutes, right? And
Wait,
then at
is
the
that the
end,
one where he's dancing? That one scene?
that's Spider-Man 3. I love that film too.
Spider-Man
That's a
3.
fantastic movie. No, Spider-Man 2 is about how fragmenting your identity
Okay.
destroys you, right? And so
Okay.
like
Shit.
and so I think that this is a huge problem that most people who work in our economy have, right? They have I'm work Kristen and then I'm fun Kristen. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
bring your whole self to work, right?
Be
Like
fun work, Kristen.
exactly. Exactly. It's like, okay, cool. Hi, I'm Kristen. I make crafts and shit, but also I am the fucking person that like
Get
sells
shit
your entire
done.
community. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can fill
Cool.
your community with people. I'm really fucking good. I'm
Yeah.
really good. And also I make mugs. Look, this one's dope, right? Hey, look,
Has a worm on it.
yeah, it does. It's really
He's
cool.
smiling. Has a
Yeah.
radish. Smiling.
So like,
Yeah.
here's an idea. Here's an idea.
Okay.
Combine your hobbies. Also, people hate this, by the way. People are like, man, work should be work and fun should be fun, and you don't have to make your passions your work. Whatever. Fuck. Okay, if that works for you, go follow that person who says that. This is my
Yeah.
approach. If you were to like make crafts about your niche for those like weird little business property management guys that are gonna like see your shit on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
What would be a fun craft that you could make that would get their attention?
I have already done one. I will
Let's
tell you.
hear about it. Yes.
I worked like how many years ago? I'm not going to count right now. A few years ago for a property management company, and we had a Halloween costume competition, and
Hell yeah.
I was a manufactured home. I built it out of cardboard, and it was sick, and I won.
I love that so much. I love that so
Yeah,
much.
it
Okay,
was
look,
sick.
here's bad advice that like, you know, by
Right.
like this is my advice.
Yes.
Make your LinkedIn profile picture you as a
That.
manufactured home. Like that's so funny, dude. Like are you kidding me? Like I'm sorry, but that gets you a call. That gets you a call from
That's
me.
true.
Cuz I want
This
to
is
talk to
true.
Kristen who is like, you know, she
You
has like
dressed up
yeah.
as um
Yeah, you know,
a
and post
trailer.
that to your LinkedIn, right? And then talk to ChatGPT. Here's what ChatGPT is great for: is ideation, right? You go, hey, you
Right.
know, I love crafts, and I'm a really fun person, and I'm trying to make marketing my business fun, right? So
Right.
fucking help me, like you know, give me 100 ideas. I had a lot of fun one time when I was a manufactured home for Halloween, and that was really cool. Give me like a dozen ideas that like you know are similar to that, and it'll be like beep boop
Right.
beep boop beep boop, and then it'll spit out 12 pretty shitty ideas, and then you'll be like those were
Nice.
shitty, try again, and then it'll give you one idea, you know, eventually that's pretty good, right? And then you do
Yes.
that and you do these little stunts over on LinkedIn, right? But this is a top of funnel activity. Okay, so cool. So now we've got our target market, we've got our channel, which is LinkedIn, right?
Mhm.
Now, and we know at the bottom here that we're going to sell 3 clients, or yeah, we're going to sell 3 clients for 5 grand a month or whatever like validated
Yeah.
price offer we have, right?
Right.
What does the rest of the offer look like? That's my question. What does the rest of the funnel look like?
Um, ADHD is kicking in here. I'm sorry.
You're
I'm
totally good.
completely
You're totally good.
blanking.
I'm sorry. I'm also putting you on the spot, right? But okay, cool. Let me just give it to you, right? So it's like we already have Kristen fills your resident.com,
Yes.
right? I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
the
yeah.
name of our thing, but like, you know, fill
Yes.
your
Fill your homes.
manufacturedhomes.com.
Yeah.
Fillyourhomes.com. They go there, okay? They have a
Yes.
landing page, right? You've built landing
Yeah.
pages because you're a marketer, right?
Right.
So, and your landing page, because you're going to read Building a Story Brand, or you're going to go watch a YouTube video that makes you understand it in 10 minutes,
Right. Right.
it's going to pass the grunt test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then another book that I would recommend for you is $100 Million by Alex Hormozy. $100 Million
Okay.
Offers is a really, really good book. Have you read this book? Have you heard about this book?
No, I suck at reading. I'm
That's
not
okay.
gonna lie.
I hate reading too. Here's another really cool tip from Naval Ravikant is find the way of absorption of entrepreneurship is about how to pay down your stupidity taxes in the quickest way possible, right? So
Right.
everybody has a different brain. My brain loves audio. I love to speak. I am an audio processing unit, right? I'm an APU.
Nice.
And I stick earbuds in my brain and like I turn on the speed at 1.7 and I can listen to any audiobook about anything and it's like pretty damn good, right?
Oh,
Also,
good.
yeah, there's also a thing called Notebook LM from Google, which generates
Okay.
podcasts about very boring shit, and it turns it into like a podcast about like, oh,
Hmm.
here's everything you need to know about this stuff that you're trying to
Oh,
learn. And so that's a really, really, really quick way to pay down your stupidity tax and learn just about anything. I will send
solid.
you. I will send you a bunch of resources after this and from the
Cool.
transcript or whatever. Um,
Cool.
use all of those things to make a fantastic offer, right? Figure out what the people in your target market, after you go read the mom test and validate all your assumptions, call all these
Mm-hmm.
motherfuckers and be like, hey, what do you give a shit about? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well,
Mm-hmm.
hey, okay, here's your biggest problem, right? People don't hire. There's 2 types of problems out there that business owners have. There's vitamin problems, right? Like I know this is good for me, right? And then there's like, hey, I'm shot in the leg, right? Like I am bleeding out. I'm going to die, right? And
Yeah.
unless I stuff something in the wound, I'm going to bleed out in the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like as an entrepreneur, you never want to solve vitamin problems. You want to solve like you're shot in the leg, right? And I
I
am
see.
Kristen. I'm a war
And I can
medic
solve it.
and I'm
Yes.
gonna solve it. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm Kristen the
Okay,
war
cool.
medic, and I'm gonna shove gauze in it,
Yeah,
and I know because I'm a battle-tested war medic, and I did it for these
it's
people,
true.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and cool. So hey, you probably have a title problem. Well, with my special sauce and my special solution and these track record of people that I solved this for, I know how to build a title system that's gonna make this fucking a cinch, right? This whole thing that's a
Awesome.
giant fucking nightmare that you can't stand right now, I solve it, and I solve it for pretty fucking cheap, and I'm really good, right? That's what you do, right?
Love that.
Yeah. And so you design your $100 million offer, right? Alex Hormozy has this thing called the value equation, right? It's desired
Yeah.
outcome times potential likelihood of achievement divided by two things: cost of time delay and sacrifice, right? It's explained very well in the book, and
Okay.
it's really
Yeah.
good. Go read the book; it's really good, and watch all of his shit, right? Here's the other thing: is media diet, right? You big Instagram user? What do you use?
No, I don't have TikTok. I don't have Instagram. Well, I have Instagram, but I view it on my browser and then exit out, so
That's
I don't
cool.
have it downloaded.
Cool. I
Yeah.
recently just deleted it, and also my phone now is in black and white, like a weird,
Oh, love that.
dude,
It's not interesting. Don't
black and
look
white
at it.
phone, grayscale black and white phone is a game changer because it makes you
Wow.
just like stop using it.
That's crazy.
Information diet is huge, right? So wherever you consume social media, like go follow
Mhm.
Gary Vaynerchuk, Alex Hormozy, these people, like
Cool.
any micro influencers in your niche that like
Yeah.
sell those homes, go follow them. Cool. I'm sorry that this conversation is super long. What are we at? We're at an hour 20. But cool, just to finish out my advice here is like in your thing have one offer, right? This is the thing that I've designed. There's probably going to be a software platform that can help you solve that title problem at scale. You can probably build a software
Mm,
solution around that and sell that to people in your target market.
interesting.
And then all you have to do after that is have a sales pipeline, right? So
Mm,
it probably is going to involve you posting on LinkedIn, maybe potentially running LinkedIn ads in a way that's not scummy or scammy or that you feel
right.
comfortable in. They go to your offer page, they buy your thing, right? And
Hmm.
then there's probably a sales call that where you take them through a quick
Right.
presentation and then you present your pricing. And really you should have one base price and then like a premium option that's like, "Hey, for 20 grand a month, I will, pat you on the head, right? Here's the 5 grand a month standard offer, but like, people normally do it like, big, medium, small, right?
Right.
And you really want most of them to do the medium offer,
Hmm.
and it's priced that way in a way that guides them to the medium offer. But anyway, cool. So that's what you do, and you design a sales process, and yeah, I know that that's probably confusing and there was a lot of
No,
information. Yeah.
it makes a
Was
lot of
this
sense.
helpful? Genuinely, what did you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's very clarifying. Honestly, like, yeah, I have been really anxious about it, but really talking it out is like, duh, like this all makes sense. It makes sense. It's easy. It's not easy, but there's like an easy path that's visual, that's visible. So if there's a path that I can like go walk on, go run on. I gotta get things done, you know? So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. This has actually been really helpful to like talk it out and like especially from someone who's had a marketing agency and like seen the struggles and like knows a lot. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope it is actually valuable. By the way, I know that
Yeah.
like this is my approach, right? I also understand that like you might do 40% of what I am recommending, right?
Right.
And even if you do that, I personally believe that it's going to save you a lot of time and effort and money, right? If you did more of the percent, I really do think that like it would like this could be a very real thing in your life,
Right.
but it sucks. It sucks. It's a ton of
Yeah.
work. It sucks. But, I will send you follow up resources after this with the books that I've
Cool.
mentioned, with the tactics specifically outlined. I really would recommend uploading that to a ChatGPT project and kind of
Okay.
training that project to like coach you and be like,
Hmm.
hey, can you be my little buddy and just like coach me through this,
Yeah.
And then
Right.
talk to that thing every day and it will genuinely tell you like the next thing to
Cool.
do, right? And I can send you some resources on that too. I need to make supplementary resources around these things and
Right.
hopefully I will do that and send you some follow-up stuff. All right?
Cool. Thanks,
Beautiful.
Noah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for coming on my show. I want to have more conversations like this and just do my thing.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming
Well,
on this, and I hope this helps you.
yeah, absolutely. It's been super helpful and it's been great to chat with you. I think you know what you're doing. So
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Cool, guys. There's a couple ways that you can help this show. The first is by going over to patreon.com/Noah Chrysler and, joining the Patreon. For as low as $5 a month, you get access to behind the scenes shit. It's me being crazy, talking with people like this, and being like, hey, here's everything that I would do in this situation. If you want that, it's over on the Patreon. It's literally $5 a month. By the way, I think I'm going to totally change up my offer and make that more money so that because I don't know, it is more valuable than that pricing. So eventually get in right now for $5 because eventually that's going to go up, right? Over there, I'm making chatbots that can help you, with specific problems in your life, right? Certain people are at different spots in their careers. One is about finding your ikigai, right? What was I put on, what am I good at, right? What skills do I have, right? What is the market value, right? There's an exercise over there that's designed to help you figure that stuff out. And there's a lot of other value over there. And there's also just fun shit. There's me dancing and screwing around. So go check that out. Would highly recommend. Also, if you like my content, it really helps me out if you just subscribe to the YouTube channel, you like each video, and then you comment each video. And it'd be nice if it was nice instead of some shitty mean thing that most people like to write on my videos. So I don't know. And that's that. Kristen, I want to talk to you again in 3 to 6 months. All right?
Sounds great.
And I'm putting it on you. I'm putting it on you.
Okay.
The people want to see. The people want to see a follow-up, okay?
I'll come back on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And give us an update. What happened to KristenFillsHomes.com? I want to know, all right?
Hell yeah, okay.
Sick. All right, I'm going to end the recording. Here we go.